Hey everyone, this is Snark with Snark's Domain, and today we are kind of doing some, well, I've got some new equipment for monitoring temperatures and all that kind of stuff. We have a thermal camera, which you guys can see right there with my fingers. Looks like they're 33 degrees or something like that. And the card behind you there, you can see where that red spot is pointing is part of the back plate of the card. The angle's not great. I need to I think I need to mount the card horizontally. I'll do that with Test Bench 3. We'll try and get like a better picture of maybe like the back plate, which we'd be able to see behind the core, which I think would be kind of nice. But hey, Code String, how's it going? It has been a good bit. Yeah, work's been kind of busy, but not so busy that I wouldn't be able to have like time theoretically. And then you add in like a 6-month-old baby and just like stuff to do around the house, and then just sometimes needing to relax. So it's been a slower pace for sure for content, so sorry about that, guys. Anyways, you can see right now on the card, this one right here, it's been mining. Not really to make money, it's not profitable or anything, but if you look on the bottom right corner, you'll see, I have to squint because I'm looking through OBS, but 244 hours 12 minutes and 16 seconds. So how long is that? 244 hours divided by 24. Okay, so just over 10 days. This thing's been running for 10 days. And oh, Code String is doing all right. Just a calm evening, really. Nice. A 6-month-old baby. Thanks. Yeah, Staler. Wait, Sayori. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. He's a pretty happy dude, although he was hard to put down tonight to bed. He was thirsty. He just wanted to be held, so I had to hold him a little longer. But anyways, so this is what an RTX 3080 running a fairly typical overclock back during the mining days would have done. Plus 1400 megahertz to the RAM. I think I've got, actually hard for me to see, but I think it's 90% fan speed. I could have run it faster fan speed too. Sometimes people were doing like 100% static fan speed, but because this one has copper shims and putty, even at just 90, you can see memory junction temperatures are currently 68. The highest was 72. Average for the last 10 days, 68.7. So yeah, let's see if we can scroll up here and take a look at ambient. Yeah, see, I don't think it was, I don't actually think it was that hot, but it is saying 33 was the average. Is that saying 37? That seems unbelievable. Although it is kind of like, I don't know, I don't think it was 37. Either way, ambient temp was there. Sorry, I went past the GPU. Right, so there we are, back on the GPU. You can see average memory junction temperature, 68. The core is nice and cold. Back during the heyday of when everyone was mining on cards a couple years ago, this was like a typical load. Nowadays, if you get a card that's like been mined on recently, the load's completely different. So you have to think, like, historically it was all memory intensive. that's not the case anymore. There are memory intensive algorithms, but there are also core intensive algorithms. There's even algorithms that do both. A lot of the core ones, sometimes we're even like underclocking the memory to like bare minimum, like below half speed even. Sometimes you can actually lock the frequency, so it's not always memory intensive. But generally speaking, the core is typically less at risk because it's driving the fans, and yeah, it's got direct contact with the heatsink, obviously, so it's got adequate cooling. It really typically was the memory that was struggling for cooling historically, but yeah, they're definitely more core intensive. Vamos Gaming, welcome to the stream. So, okay, that's what a mining load looks like. Let's, I don't want to crash Windows on this thing. So, okay, I'm going to turn the, let's see. I got to move the IR cam down a bit, just so I can see on the screen. We're going to, oh, this is kind of annoying. Okay, this is actually hard to see, but I'm gonna lower the memory clock manually first. We're gonna let that happen, and now we're going to we'll just reset it to, well, I'll end mining there. Go. Now, when you do that, you can see how the frequency jumped up momentarily. So when you're at like a pretty high or max overclock after mining, if you end it right away, it'll jump up, and sometimes Windows would crash. Now I'm going to reset it to stock settings, so there's no overclock. I think we're going to reset this, so might as well. And you can see now that there's no load, we're down at 20 watts. The fans stopped on the thermal camera there, which is kind of nice to see. And we're going to reset that. Okay, I'm going to turn the IR camera off for a second. And we'll get Furmark going. And we're just going to use the auto fan, no overclocks. Stress test. Okay, now I think if I go Alt-Tab, it's the one that we care about the most. And I'm gonna get the IR camera going in a second here. Different mouse. Okay. I'll move that. Oh, sorry. I'm getting used to this software. I haven't really used it much yet, but so I'm predicting, I mean, the memory's going to be probably pretty happy no matter what, even with the auto fan. But the core, well, we'll see what the core does here. This card didn't really do too much core intensive stuff. Not enough to bake the paste, I don't think. Looks like we got a Hotspot at 74. You know, the delta is not the best. It's like 12 degrees delta between GPU temp and the Hotspot, and that's what, a minute in. So actually that was like less than a minute. We'll watch it for a couple minutes here, see what the temperatures do. You can see the radiator now, but behind the fans here, right there, kind of pointing with my green finger. Snark's domain, green skin. What can I say? It's kind of cool seeing the radiator heat up. Now, this color scale that you guys are seeing on the infrared camera is not a fixed scale. I have to play around with the software more. I'm pretty sure it can do that. I was having a problem getting topped on BTC View software to work in Windows, at least on Windows 11. I hooked up to my laptop and it worked just fine, so I don't know why I'm still running Windows 11 on my desktop, to be honest. Yeah, I don't like Windows 11. But let's take a look at the temps here. You know, it's not climbing much super fast or anything. Like 63. I don't know. I think it's not terrible. I mean, the question is, do we still take the card open? But yeah, we do, because you guys want to see what the putty looks like. So do I. So let's I mean, it's still climbing a bit maybe, or it's pretty much stable, and that's with auto fan. What's the fan doing? The GPU fan, 1900 RPM. If I'm careful here, I should be able to Alt tab over. Okay, so that's 75% fan speed. Yeah, I mean, that's not too bad. Okay, we're gonna end the Furmark test here. Just gonna click over here. And we could probably watch the card cool down, I'm thinking, on the thermal camera. Now the fan speed, like, quickly slows down too. We're only at 53%. Core's at 43. It's probably going to jump down again here shortly. 25 watts. I think that's actually at 53 anymore. Let's see. 1000 RPM. And now it's going to 0, so right at around that 40 degrees. Okay, close that. And I'm just gonna move the camera, and then we'll shut the computer down. Okay, and I'm gonna, let's see, cam link, okay. All right, so the computer's completely off now. I mean, the cables look like they were, I should have zoomed in on the cables earlier, but they're what, 37, 38 degrees, kind of by the connectors. Anyways, I'll turn that IR camera off now. Get to do the juggle of stuff.
But I'm so frustrated. Hello to my loneliness. I guess that ignorance is bliss. Take me back to before the noon. Rewind, take it out of cue. Innocence can be a young man's game.
What's that? So I'm thinking of kind of getting a capture card. So I realized the other day that I've got a lot of stuff going on this computer sometimes. Like if I'm trying to play a video game and I'm wanting to do like a stream at the same time, it's not really feasible. So I was thinking I'd probably get, yeah, like a 4K, I think it's like the Cam Link Pro. It's got 4 HDMI in ports. And what that would let me do is I could be live streaming thermal tests without changing or adding load. I wouldn't be using like a remote desktop or some other. My mind's drawing a blank. Basically, I don't want to have to remote in because that could skew the results by adding like more processing load happening in the background. I guess I don't even need to take this I/O bracket off, but it is off now, so it's okay. Let's put that back on later. Alright, so some of these I have to take off and other ones I don't. I'll take these 6 spring screws off first. Oh, we'll have to do these 2 first. So it's been a long time since I've had this card open. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to show you guys. So when I first... Oh, I missed some message there. I see dead gamers. I don't know. I'm not sure what you said. The electricity prices just made it illogical for me to continue. Oh yeah, it's... mining's not really doing too much right now, so... I was going to show you guys, this is what the card looked like. This was one of my first time posting about Putty. So, September 2nd, 2021, not quite 4 years ago. This was from a post on Reddit, which subsequently got moderated. I don't even think this one's searchable anymore. I'm not sure. I think only I can view it, which is kind of lame, but that's what made me realize that Reddit wasn't going to be the place to post about this stuff for the most part. That it'd be better to have a YouTube channel. Anyways, I used way too much putty back then, and temps were like kind of okay, but they weren't great. And then in 2022. And then in 2022, I redid the application. Now you can see the putty on the left-hand side there is I left that in place. It was like a bit firmer than it was like brand new, but I was like, oh, it's like kept its shape, and I'll just leave it there and it'll be fine. And then I put the shims and putty on the rest of the card, well, on the VRAM. Not before I protected everything with Kapton tape though. So we'll see how that's all held up. Kapton tape's okay, but I think I prefer using conformal coating for protection. It's more rugged. It's not going to lose adhesion. The tape, if it mixes with oils and stuff, right, it won't be as sticky, and just makes it a little bit harder to trust. So anyways, that was the last application, so I'll go back to this now. So I took those spring brackets out. I think it's just these two, and then I can take it out or take it off apart. Put those there. So this card I bought from Memory Express. sure. There's a cable up here. That's like for the LEDs. And there's a couple cables here. So this is what I normally do to crack a card apart. Is I find a corner and I just apply some steady but persistent force, and it typically comes apart. Okay, let's spin this bad boy around. So yeah, this is 3-year-old putty and paste. Now I think if I've got things set up correctly, there we go. So let me just move this. Let's take a look at the core, if we can. Isn't that cool, guys? We got a microscope. Has anyone used aluminum nitride ceramic substrate sheet instead of copper mud? Yes. Ozos Marika. It's really awesome. Actually, we got some right here. These are the aluminum nitride, which we might use a couple today. We'll see. So that's what the core looks like. That's what the putty looks like. Let's get a little spatula and we can I should have cleaned my tools before. Sorry guys, gonna jumping all over the spot here. But yeah, those aluminum ceramic or aluminum nitride stuff's great. Not quite as conductive as copper, but no risk electrically. So I think it's kind of the way to go. If you look at that, this stuff, it's hard to see, but like it's not. Let me get some gloves on. Maybe I'll zoom out so you guys can turn that off for a split second, and we'll turn that light off. The microscope needs a lot of light. Taylor Sharp in the house. Yeah, man. The microscope's going to be kind of cool for like zooming in on PTM applications and just getting, I don't know, a closer look whenever we want to get a closer look. So this card's very dirty. You guys can see that already. But let's take a look at this putty that's on the shims at least. Now, it's not as soft as it was when it was brand new. Because it was, it was pretty soft then. But this stuff on the shims has only been there for 2.8 years. The 3-year-old stuff, well, older than 3 years, is underneath this, but this is softer than the latest CXH1300 for sure. I mean, this is quite soft still. You'll find that they soften up after kneading a little bit. I'm just going to trim. We'll take this whole piece off. It's cool, eh? It's kind of neat. I just need to trim off the dirty bits on the edge. All right, so this chunk's definitely on the drier side of things. It's kind of crumbling up on me, right? But yeah, I mean, the performance was still good. It was just mining Ethereum Classic there with a plus 1400 memory overclock. Memory junction temperature was 68 Celsius. Yeah, it was like memory temps were still fine. Most of the work being done by the copper shims, obviously, but the putty was still transferring heat itself. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. This putty here, like, was kind of crumbly. Like, it all held together, but it like broke apart as if it was fairly like it was drier, stiffer. But now all I did was I took it in my hand and I've been kneading it for, I don't know, about a minute. Like, yeah, it's not as soft as it was brand new, but sometimes you just have to put in a little bit of effort to knead it like dough. You know, if I wasn't taking the copper shims out, well, I mean, there was really no need to open this card except for getting a look at it. Now that we do have it open, I am going to take the copper shims out and we'll apply some UTP-8. I got to clean the card up, but yeah, the putty was still performing fine. I'm really hoping that a lot of the other thermal putties that we've been testing and trying out as a community are going to last the way. Like, this stuff's even softer. This was pretty dirty though. It was in the path of the air, so I'll probably toss that bit. I mean, it's just got a little bit of dirt. Yeah, I don't want to. There's no point in saving dirty putty. I'm not even really, like, I don't have plans to use TGPP10 anymore other than for testing. You know, unless I needed, unless I was on like water cooling on a 40 series specifically and trying to push like 2000 to the memory, going for that max overclock. Pretty impressive how that's still quite soft. Now this stuff, yeah, it's still going to be malleable too. Stuff's clean enough. Save that. This bit's dirty. Alright, so the VRAM is actually underneath this intermediate plate here. And I put a shim here. So from factory, there's a thermal pad connecting this to the main cooler in this section right here. And adding a shim there definitely was helping the cooling. I was planning, if I was going to keep shims, I was planning on putting like a narrow shim here to bridge the gap here a bit more, because that's also about a 2mm gap between there and there. But we don't really need to do that anymore, because we're not going to have shims on this card. Because it doesn't need to be sitting at 68, you know. And I mean, I guess the core was fine too, but we're going to go PTM and just straight putty. Get rid of any electrical risk on this card. Kind of put it back to like what I would do for a typical gaming card. The paste is it was a little bit, I wouldn't even say dry in the center. It wasn't that dry, but it was actually still wet. So Because I wasn't really using the core much on this card, the paste was just kind of sitting there chilling at, you know, 40, maybe sometimes 50 degrees. So it was, this is like an unused card almost as far as the core is concerned. And the memory, I was always pretty good at keeping it nice and cool. Oh, you're gonna do, oh, I gotta catch up to the chat. Yeah, U6 Pro is pretty good. Bad mods for you. Welcome to the stream. I can't read your name. Yeah, I mean, it's not in English alphabet, so I'm sorry. But, welcome to the stream nonetheless. You were going to use aluminum nitride sheets. Did not find any cheap ones that would fit my memory of the graphics card without cutting. Yeah. It's hard to find cutting tools, or like I think you could do it with water jet, but these aluminum nitride, these ones are 1 mil. These are nice without the holes. I just got these on AliExpress. There's a couple listings there where you can customize or choose from different sizes. My recommendation for shims is to go smaller than you think you need to. And if you're going to use shims and putty, your best bet is probably like to use in conjunction with the putty. Go with like a Helm's Eye. Well, this is 256, the green stuff, but a Helm's Eye HY236, the pink stuff. You can commonly find that on AliExpress, and that'd be the one that I think people should use for shims. It can squeeze down past 0.1 of a millimeter, so it's the one to go with, to be honest. You can use other putties like UTP-8 or Fahonda and all that, but then you're going to need to go a lot thinner on your shim to give more space for the putty. I think you'd have a hard time getting putty to compress, most of the top-end putties to compress past 0.4 of a millimeter, which means you need to leave 0.8 of a millimeter total, so 0.4 on either side, to be able to get good core contact without having that shim affect that part of it. So just keep that in mind. Maybe I should make a 2025 shim guide. Like, it's even impressive that I got TGPP10 to compress down enough for cards, because it's like, well, I was applying quite a bit of force, and to be honest, you know, TGPP10 was decent, but the Helm's Eye, when it's just putty, already performs, I think, 5 degrees better than TGPP10 if it was just putty. So, you know, shims, it might be half a degree better than TGPP10, something like that. You know, I might actually clean this this heatsink at some point a little bit better. Let's spin the card around though. Guess what I need to do is take off this guy. Do that, I have to take the back plate off. So that's what we're going to do, which means we are going to disconnect these cables. That was actually pretty hard to do. Wow, you used Upsiren 24-watt thermal pads and 1mm aluminum nitride ceramic sheet. That's impressive that you you didn't get core contact issues. Like, definitely getting good compression when you're using shims is harder to do than without shims. So I typically recommend putty, but if you manage to get pads to work, then kudos to you, good sir. That is quite impressive. I think this one, oh, it is connected, yeah. Okay, we'll have to remember that there's that little single piece right there. That was the last one. Oh yeah, there we go. All the putty, and you can definitely see there is like what you'll see is like a typical oil bleed after some time. Not as bad as what I've seen on pads, but it's still like exists, so definitely still some. Putty there. So I'll save as much as I can of this stuff, but it's hard to scrape off the tiny little components. Oh, there was a gap there, no wonder. Sometimes what you can do is take a ball of putty and then kind of dab it, and you'll pick some putty up. So again, this stuff at first feels like a bit on the crumbly side, but you squeeze it and like just work it in your hands a little bit, and it softens right up. I'm not sure. Yeah, this stuff would also be just the 2 years old. That's right. Let me just scrape this back plate up really quick, then we'll flip over the card and we'll take a look at the oldest putty that we have on there. So this stuff's kind of like oily on this surface, kind of flops around, a little bit crumbly. Not as crumbly as I've seen on the core side there. The same position. This stuff's pretty clean though, so I didn't have to, doesn't look like I need to trim anything. Not a whole lot of air moving behind the back of the card. Okay, so this, oh yeah, that had like a snap to it. It crumbles to pieces, right? But let's just, let's see if we can make it work here. So this stuff is, what, 2.8 years old. And yeah, it's no longer like the softest putty in the world, but it's still usable. Still shapeable. I was gonna see if I could like make it stick and then pull chunks of putty off, but oh, maybe a little bit. Anyways, yeah, it's feeling pretty good now. I'll be honest. It's if I find parts that are feeling a little stiffer, I just like squeeze that little bit between my fingers, kind of force it to break the gel, as it were. So putty is typically based on silicone oil, and at temperature and over time, silicone oil does have a gelling effect. How fast that happens is kind of all over the place, depending on the specs of that specific oil. I don't have any of the specs on any of the oils used in any of the putties, so I can't really say which one's better than another one or anything like that. That's what we were going to do. Take these 4 screws out for that intermediate heatsink. Lots of screws on this card. Oh, there's 6, I guess. Yeah, 6. This is a hard card to do putty on. On a stream. Ideally, you wouldn't be doing it on a stream like me. You'd be doing it with lots of time and not a few dozen people watching you. Or, well, we got 18. I think. Mad mods for you. My GPU hotspot is hitting 119 degrees Celsius. Holy crap, man. So I'm gonna try that Honeywell Phase G. Yeah, you should. 100%. Man, that's that you must use diamond wheel to make edge clean. I don't know what that was about. Dremel. Oh, for cutting the ceramic ones. Yeah. Okay. Moment of truth. Under here, most of this is still going to be the 2.8 years, but here we go. Just get the shims off there. Okay, that's mostly cleaned up now, or at least the bulk of it scraped off. Would call it clean, but I'm just going to scrape the putty off these 2 shims. Sure, I'll find a use for the shims on another project at some point. Alright, so the putty there kind of, oh, I'll scoop that into view for you guys. Right, it looks really, like crumbly. It's coming off in little chunks the way I'm scraping it off. I'm pretty sure we're going to get that all to, I'll be able to get that to soften up just by working it a little bit. That's why it's like hard for me to, even that looks like crumbly and dry, right? When folks say online like, oh, the putty's drying out, it might be drier than it was when you first applied it. That's totally believable. We could see that here, right? But how much effort are folks putting into trying to like work it in their hands? And sometimes it's just hard to know just how much effort someone's put in, or if they're looking at from a glass half empty kind of view, where I don't know. It's always hard to know. So that's why I find it hard to. Ooh, that shot off at me there. Okay, so all the putty that was on the shims right next to the VRAM was definitely, so far, it looks like it's on the drier side in these little chunks. But we're gonna try and mix it all up again by hand and see if it'll soften up for us and cling together. Oh yeah, it's definitely going to. So, oh, this is, I mean, it's pretty good. That's going to be the real telltale whether that one can get soft or not. Dog Daytona, welcome to the stream. Bass Face 5000. Blub. Yeah, this is even softer than these two, and I think that's because this was at a lower temperature, right? The VRAM on this card, at the start of the stream, we were just mining Ethereum Classic there, plus 1400 on the VRAM. I think I had the core locked at, what was it, 1260 or something. It was over on the left of the voltage frequency curve, and fans were at 90. The VRAM was cold. Not cold, but this is really soft. So the stuff that was right next to the VRAM, yeah, it was definitely a cooler temperature. Now this stuff, this is the stuff that's been on since. Let's take a look. That's pretty wild. So I'm going to try and hold the card the same way. Okay, let's see if this, oh, you know what? Let me get the focus. And then I'll turn this off. You guys can see that? Oh, did I click on it? It's in the same position, that little bit. So we're gonna manual focus this, fix it a little bit. Something like that. I'm gonna scoop it up. I'm not gonna save. We could. Maybe we'll try and save it. I just have to trim. I feel like it's gonna be hard to trim this stuff, but it's working. I mean, I can already tell how this is gonna go. This is hilarious. Crazy. I mean, this stuff is pretty old. I mean, this September it would be 4 years. So I guess that puts us at what, almost 5 years, I guess. 3.5 years. That's the last really dirty bit. Okay, let's see if I can get this to break off in chunks or something. I gotta be careful with the MOSFETs. Luckily, this scraper is just small enough, but barely, to fit in here. Okay, so I'm gonna dump that right there. The rest I'll have to wash off with something. This stuff's old. This should be the hardest. The putty, it's definitely feeling crumbly right now. And stiff. I'm just gonna lay into it with some manual pressure on those bits, and yeah, it's definitely this is nuts. This is crazy. This stuff should be not this soft. Like, yeah, it started off chunky for sure. But and now it's like it's still softer than modern CXH 1300. Well, it's on the dry side. You can feel it wanting to like it has lost some of its, probably baked off a little bit of its silicone oil. Not baked off, but it would have been like seeping around the PCB, but it's still malleable. Like, you could totally use this. You wouldn't be able to use this with shims, right? The viscosity is too high to be able to get it like squished down really nice and thin. But can we still, let's see, if I make a ball, can we still roll it? Oh yeah. That's wild. Okay, that's cool. It looked horrible at first, right? You guys were not expecting it to be able to do this. Like, I wasn't. I was thinking, okay, this is going to be the video where we get some putty that's like completely rock hard, but I can still show that it's performing good. We still don't have that video. I was hoping I was going to have that video when I cracked open my my 3090. I was at a LAN party and I took footage of that. And I still have that, but all the putty was still soft enough and malleable, so it's kind of nuts. Okay, so that's all the putty that we salvaged. Holy crap, this is a lot of putty. Guys, this is nuts. Like, that's at least that's at least, well, it's TGPP10, so it's lighter. Why don't we weigh it? Let's weigh it. Yeah, that's pretty dusty. Let's clean that off a little bit. Yeah, 63 grams. And that's at a density of 3.2. So if I go to the calculator and go 64 grams divided by 3.2, times 3.5. So that's, if this was a higher performing putty with a density of 3.5, like a lot of them are, that's 70 grams worth. Man, that's cool. Let's put that in the TGPP10 bin. Oh, I could just turn the monitor off there. It's no good. Go. Safe and sound. Okay, so let's get this this card cleaned up. This might take a bit, but this is a good time if you guys have any questions, or I should be able to catch up on the chat while we do this. I'm probably not gonna do the burn-in on stream, just because that would take a while once we apply the PTM stuff. But I mostly was doing that at the start just so you guys could see that the card isn't still, you know, performing as expected with the shims, even after 2.5 years. You know, with a lot of that, it was, when I first did the shim job, it was still mining for money and stuff, so I think that's pretty impressive that it's held up like that. You know, that's a non-typical use case where it's in a mining scenario. You know, if you're playing video games, I don't think well, you've got thermal cycles then, which is different, right? This one's was typically at a static load most of the time, and yeah, there was times where it was like turned off or changed algorithms, but mostly it was just run at a constant load, so it had less heat cycles than a gaming card typically would. I guess first things first, we should get rid of all this capped on tape. Sleek Cheems, thanks for your test with those ceramic shims. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have known such materials are also used as thermal shims for TIMs. Yeah, no problem, man. I'm glad that my tests have been helpful to the many, and I wasn't planning on starting a YouTube channel and spending a lot of money and testing all this stuff out, but that's kind of what happened. Mostly because once I was using this putty, this TGPP10, I was not willing to go back to pads, and then it got discontinued, and I was like, I wasn't gonna let that happen. I wasn't gonna not be able to use putty, so I started looking for an alternative, and found some good ones, and just kind of snowballed from there. Just kind of nuts when you think about it. Like, this was not a plan to have a channel and make videos, and it just sort of happened. So I'm using a Q-tip that I've cut in half on a 45-degree angle. It makes it a little bit pointier, which helps me at least somewhat get into the crevices a little bit better. Dog Daytona said in between the bottom two caps seems like it got smaller. Interesting. Like in between these ones? It's possible. Also, these pointy Q-tips are softer than a toothpick would be, because it's basically like the shaft is made of like rolled up paper of some sort. Well, maybe not paper, but that kind of thing. And so it's a bit softer than a toothpick, a little bit more forgiving. You still have to be careful with the small components, but I find it pretty useful for just like scrubbing around. Well, you know what we could try? We could try the let's see here. I'm gonna be able to do it. I'm gonna have to move this stuff. We're gonna try the microscope. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Man, I'm glad I bought a microscope. Cloud Yak in the house. How's it going, buddy? So that's how I cut the Q-tips. And then I just sort of kind of go like that. That's a pretty steep angle. That's like a 30-degree angle. But yeah, it works. Works pretty good.
I like to be educated, but I'm so frustrated. Hello to my loneliness. I guess that ignorance is bliss. Take me back to before I knew. Rewind, take it
I'm like switching between looking at the screen
can be a young man's game.
and looking at the PCB.
Shame. I wish I
Getting there nice and clean.
knew what I missed.
Just wait till I start soldering. It might be a while before that happens. I still would need to buy a good soldering iron and some hot air, and then get like flux and stuff, which I plan to do. But let's see if I can show you guys what I'm doing here. So I'm just I use the pointer, and I'm going slower than I normally would because I'm looking at the screen right now. But get used to looking at the screen. It's actually surprisingly there's not like there's a bit of lag, but not a whole lot. Right now this is just on a Camlink USB like 4K capture, which is not ideal because it's on the USB bus then, and like USB-A of all things, not even USB-C. But I'm planning on getting a Camlink Pro, which is a PCI Express adapter card, and that's going to make it easier to see. It's definitely dirty. Oh yeah. But let's go back to an overview like this. That's what I do to get like the bulk of it. Let's turn that off so you guys can see a bit better. And then I just get a brush, kind of hold the card like this, right? I'll kind of like run it along lines like that. Just gonna do a little bit of speed cleaning here. I kind of hold it loosely in my fingers, so I'm not applying a whole lot of force, even though I'm moving quickly. I'm just letting the tip move, and it's pivoting like that. So if it runs into something, I can feel it, and I don't apply like too much pressure at all. You just got to be delicate with your components. And your cards. You don't want to, like, I've just cleaned a lot of cards. I kind of get comfortable with the amount of force I can use without breaking stuff, at least yet. So I just hope I keep that up and don't break anything anytime soon. Once you get it to this level where it's still dirty, there's still bits of putty everywhere, then I give it a good soak, and you know, I guess we could go back to it's kind of fun using the let's see, it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun using the microscope. So I'm doing a little circular, like oval action kind of here. You need to learn how to use your tools. Definitely. I just got this microscope I mean, you're probably talking about other tools too. I don't know. But right now, my computer was struggling. Like, I was playing video games and I noticed there was like a lot of lag on with the mouse. And I kind of figured out that I was overloading the USB bus with like a lot of stuff. I had this 4K microscope plugged in and it was on USB. I had a USB microphone, which I still have. That's what we're using right now, a Shure MV7. And everything was just kind of like all stacked up on the USB bus. And no wonder. I was using like every single port that my computer had. Plus, I had a hub, a powered hub, and also what's it called? Like a SD card reader, that kind of thing. I had one of those as well. So I had way too much traffic on there, and it's not conducive to... Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to spray it off like that. Just kind of wipe that to the side for now. It's already like a lot cleaner. And there's still a little bit, but it's looking pretty good on that strip. I'm pretty happy with the toothbrush technique. There's no rubber bristles. You guys know those toothbrushes that have, which I've got one here, which I sometimes use. I should be more careful. This one, it's not ideal. It's got these rubber bristles, which could easily get caught in like crevices. It's better just to have all the tiny bristles. So I'll probably cut these off, you know, so that we can use that another time. Why not now, while I'm thinking about it? It'll be a more useful toothbrush that way. All right, back to the stream. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna talk a little bit less and clean a little bit more. You know, I actually think I want to use the microscope view for these ones too, because that was I found that to be easier. I just keep switching back and forth. That is all. Where are we here? Okay, so it's right there. You can just push it out that side probably. You know what? This is 1mm. Oh my gosh. That's cool. Okay. We're gonna use the be gentle. Aluminum nitride shim. Because it's just bare PCB. This one. Bit right there. Yeah, that one it doesn't want to go through, so we're not going to force it. You can see this one right here, when it was soldered on, it was not square, so it's kind of a control. Yeah, this is a cool view, hey? With the microscope, I'm liking this. This is one of those 4K microscopes. I've got the 180 times multiplication, and I've got a 0.3 focal lens on. I've also got a 0.5 and a 0.75, but the 0.3 allows me to have it sit, right now it's sitting about 60 centimeters above the table, which means I can use like any height of tool. Yeah, E6 quality at its best. I'm not going to be limited for space, like when trying to use tools and stuff. So I'll just brush that off. I'd say using the microscope makes it easier to see the shape of things, but I've been able to do this type of cleaning even without the microscope, just by looking for where the chunks of putty are. So I'm not going to look at the microscope, I'm just going to look at the card right now, just so you guys can see what I normally do, and I can look at it afterwards. I'll look at there to make sure I'm in view. But yeah, it works pretty good, not even looking at the microscope. And right now I'm holding the card kind of far away from my face. It's like 30 centimeters, maybe even 40 centimeters. Normally you could get a lot closer if you weren't trying to take a stream of it at the same time. Now I'm looking at the microscope to get that little bit there. Yeah, and then once I've got it there, turn that light off. I'll just get this soaked with isopropyl alcohol. Definitely not water, if anyone was wondering. I don't use water on cards. I know some people put them through the dishwasher, including Bauer, and I think that's super cool. I'm just not willing to do that myself. I'd be too nervous. You know, I could see using an ultrasonic cleaner before I'd use a dishwasher. I would just be worried that, like, my dishwasher, it's not brand new, it's got who knows what kind of like minerals trapped in like the water tank and stuff, probably lots of calcium and all that stuff, and I'd just be afraid of like that kind of dishwasher causing issues. Soapy water. Yeah, you'd have to use it without soap, I'm pretty sure. But I'd like to get an ultrasonic cleaner at some point. I think that'd be pretty sweet. You know, there's lots of folks out there that use them. Repair shops. There's like really large mining companies will have ultrasonic cleaners. They'll put cards through when they redo the pads or whatever. I don't know if they're using putty yet or not, but I would be if I was them. I mean, of course I would. This is Snark's domain after all. We don't use pads unless we have to. Mostly just for testing. And it was a big year last year for thermal putty. Like, so many new additions, so many new putties. Thermal Grizzly joining the putty game, like that was awesome. And I think this year is going to be just as big. You're going to see more brands come out with their own putties, like more well-known brands. And I'm excited for that because it's just going to normalize it. Yeah, people will have more accessibility, which is important. Because right now, yeah, I can buy pretty much anything from Canada, and I think the US is also not too limited in that respect. You guys can get all sorts of putty in the US, but when it comes to other countries around the world, a lot of like European countries struggle for cheap access. Like some of the shipping online on AliExpress is just nuts. So it doesn't even make sense to buy most of the putties. Not when they're paying, you know, what, 30 to 50 euro for shipping. Like that's just doesn't make sense at all. Get that. Getting somewhere gradually. It's certainly not perfect, but it's getting pretty close. Pads are for those monthly times. Yeah. Good times. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But that's a different kind of stream. Good times. Yeah, like if I wasn't planning on to like upgrade the putty and get rid of the shims, we could have just, you know, reshaped everything and called her a day, but I kind of put myself in this position of wanting to clean it up and putting and removing the shims completely, so this might be a longer stream. Just want to clean between the VRAM really well. Okay, that one's done. Great. It's pretty much the core side. Okay, so this part is where there's quite a bit of putty, and again, I'm just gonna use a toothpick, and I'm just kind of holding it a little bit loose in my hand and doing these little circles. So I'm not applying a whole lot of force. I'm letting it flop as it needs, as it runs into little components. And also, it's a Q-tip, so the tip is that I made is softer than a wooden toothpick would be. And this works pretty good. You can also do this with thermal pads that are baked on. The back of the cards behind the VRAM, that's where you're going to have the hardest time cleaning old thermal pads as well. Sometimes they bake on and it looks just like this. So yeah, isopropyl, a little bit of scrubbing, you'll be able to get them off. Just takes a bit of time and patience, which it's, you know, we've only been doing this for what, a minute or so, and I'm already like loosening up most of the chunks, no problem. So it doesn't actually take that long. It's just a bit of effort, really. So I'm pretty sure I have to do the VRAM first with putty. Add that intermediate heatsink. 6 screws. And then I can do the back plate. Put the back plate on. Can't remember how many screws that was. That was either 6 or 8 screws. Maybe it was less. We'll do the rest of the putty. So even this putty, right, even though it all came off in chunks, we could, if we wanted to, I'm not really going to save it, but just to prove a point, we'll turn that into a nice soft blob of putty. Especially for those that missed the first bit of the stream where we were doing that with some dry, chunky looking putty. Rumbly is the word. That's what we're going for. Okay, so this putty, right, came off in little bits and chunks, but you squeeze it together, and just like that, it's putty again. Like, this stuff's quite soft. It's not even that dirty. It has some dirt in it though. I am gonna, well, yeah, I'm gonna toss it. But that was quite soft. Yeah, a toothbrush works great. You can also use like another brush that comes with like some of those brushes that come with the kits of like little tool kits for stuff on AliExpress. Those work good too, especially if you cut the bristles short. They're a bit stiffer that way. I'm not worried about the putty getting anywhere it's not supposed to. It doesn't conduct electricity, so if it did, it wouldn't have been good to have it on the back plate like this, right? For 3 years. Mad Mods for you. Yeah, you have a good night too, man. Thanks for checking out the stream, and whole lot of scrubbing. You, sir, have a good night. And if you like, you can always join the Discord and join us over there for some good conversation and see what other people are doing with putty. It's a good place. Oh yeah, so not putty related or YouTube or anything related, but I just got into baking sourdough bread, which I gotta say I recommend. It's tasty stuff. After this stream, I'm gonna be baking sourdough bread. Well, probably in like an hour or two, but Yeah, bread is good. Cloud Yak, you know what I'm talking about. It's good bread too. Well, that just came off somewhere. Where is this from? I'll be able to figure that out. There's one up here too. Okay, so these were right here. Pretty sure. Yeah, I'll make sure I put those little protectors back. But yeah, I just got a... Oh, you know what? I almost lost it, that little guy. He went flying. Let's put that over there. Yeah, I bought a... Well, my wife bought a sourdough starter. And apparently it's like 150 years old starter. Like active bacteria culture from San Francisco. So I guess you can, like, with sourdough starters, you can dehydrate them and turn it into like a powder form and then vacuum pack it, and it's good for decades. So yeah, you can like, you could like travel and theoretically bring some with you. But, you know, being in a powder form, you'd probably have to answer some questions at the airport maybe. But yeah, so we started baking. Well, she was feeding it for like 6 or 7 days. I was busy working. And then I came back and she had missed like the bake on the day where you could like actually bake from it or whatever. And so I was like, oh, you know, maybe I'll do something the next day. So sure enough, the next day I'm like, well, I kind of want to bake some bread. So I started the whole process, and it takes a long time because you got to like feed it and you got to wait. This one's pretty good, so I only had to wait 4 hours. And then I made the dough, and then you gotta go through the process of like folding it a few times, and then you shape it, and then you let it rise, or like bulk ferment, I think is what they were saying. But yeah, and then when it like doubles in size and it's like a good loaf size, then you bake it in a Dutch oven in the oven. A Dutch oven inside an oven. But yeah, I've been doing 500 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 minutes, and then you take the lid off, and then it's another 15 to 25 minutes. But you got to go by the look of the crust, and it's cool because you know you've like baked it correctly is when you take it out and you put it on like a wood cutting board or something, like as a cooling rack. It'll start to like have a crackling sound. It's the coolest sound ever. Yeah, so that felt good that I successfully baked bread. Sourdough bread, and it's tasty. Code string. Funny you say that. Someone I was talking with recently said they were getting into cooking that as well. Oh man, it's a rabbit hole. Well, it's not. Yeah, it's a rabbit hole for sure. And it's addicting to like bake bread and then have fresh bread. It makes you spend money. Like, I bought a new bread slicing knife, because the one that we had was just like horrible and like really hard to cut or slice through the because sourdough's got a very tough crust. Yeah, it's like a tougher crust than other breads, but man, is it ever good. And like, we were buying half a loaf of sourdough for like $6 Canadian, which is, what's that in US? It's like, what, 4? Yeah, it's 4. And so that means like a whole loaf was like 12 Canadian, or like $8 US for a sourdough loaf at a local place that's not even like a fancy place. It's just, that's what the going rate at a typical grocery store is. And now we're baking it, and it's pretty cheap, you know, when we're just going through the the raw materials. Okay, this card's getting pretty clean here. You can always touch up the PCI Express connector later. I'm pretty happy with this back plate. Yeah, I think let's go to, we're going to start putty time here shortly. Let's set this over the way for a moment. Yeah, if you ever think about getting into like baking something and you've got enough time, I definitely recommend sourdough. It's healthier for you. You don't get like a huge glucose spike like you would from let's say just eating like a white bread that you get from the supermarket. Yeah, sourdough goes in your gut and your body's got to do a bit more work to get the to break it down. And that's ideal because the slower you process foods, the less of a glucose spike. Of course, glucose just makes you want to store excess energy as fat. So, yeah. I see Dead Gamers. You need a medium bristle brush. Yeah, I'd agree with that. My toothbrush was soft. This one is also soft. That toothbrush is soft. But I've got... I would totally agree. Medium bristle is the way to go. I don't have it close by, but oh, I do actually have it close by. Scratch that. This one here, this brush used to have bristles that were twice as long, and I cut them down to this, and it's a bit more. Oh yeah, it's got a bit more force to it, a little more stiff. So yeah, medium bristles all the way for sure for getting in there and getting it done pretty quick. Okay, let's what are we doing here? Get some of those wipes. Here we go. So, not really happy with these ones. They're not as nice as the last wipes that I had. Apparently they're like the same brand, and they were in the same section, but they look completely different, so there's not a lot of consistency for these makeup wipes. Just don't get the exfoliating ones. Those ones are a little too harsh on, let's say, like copper and stuff. Although still softer than using a Q-tip. Q-tips apply a lot of force to a little spot, and it turns it into an abrasive. So that's why I don't use Q-tips as much anymore for cleaning the large surfaces. A, it's slower, and B, I was scratching up my nickel-plated cooler on my test card, the 3070 Ti, quite a bit, just from all the Q-tip stuff. So yeah, these makeup wipes, they're nice for stuff. A little more gentle and also faster, which is good. Really need to get one of those battery those little air dusters. I've got a big one, but it's upstairs plugged in because I usually take stuff outside to blow it out. But I want to get one of those small ones. probably do sooner than later. Just a little bit of putty, a couple spots. But other than that, it's looking pretty good. Right. So just to recap, this is going to go down something like that. So I'll be able to put that on and do this strip, and then we'll flip it. Probably hold it like this and then do the screws. And we're just going to get the screws over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, homemade bread is always better than store-bought. And I even tested it. Like I tried the store-bought sourdough and then my own sourdough, and it was like night and day. Well, the store-bought one was pretty good, but mine was that like extra 10% better because it's fresh. Like, yeah. That being said, I didn't do a blind test, which I guess that would be the true test, is like trying a bite and not knowing which one it was. Maybe I could have been biased towards my own baking creation. Hard to say. I was wearing those gloves for a while, so they're a little bit harder to get off and hard to get these ones on. Okay. Getting close to putty. There's just like the slightest amount of remnant TGPP10. I'm not too worried about it. It's going to be fine. It's not like it does anything super reactive when it's heated up or anything, so just kind of sits there, hangs out. Some putty right here. And yes, I almost spilled the screws. Yeah, I'm using UTP-8. It's the putty I have the most of, mostly because it's price. I like to when I first take it out of the container, I like to warm it up a little bit and knead it in my hand. You'll find it, this is true with like all putties, just working it in your hand makes it soft. It also, after 3 years kneading it in your hand, it can go from like crumbly to something usable again. So if even the stiffer putties like CXH1300, you take it out and work it a bit, it'll soften up a little bit at least. But this stuff's like really nice and pliable. It was already pretty pliable. I just like it that little bit more when it's even easier. The VRAM pads, I believe on this one we're going to be, I think they're like 1.5, but we're going to go with about a 5.5 millimeter log. just eyeballing it, which that looks like to me. And same thing for the VRMs, or the MOSFETs. We'll do the MOSFETs first. Looks like something like that. Well, I might as well prep the VRAM just by dabbing it. Makes it a little stickier. Putty becomes a bit stickier, or it sticks to itself. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm rusty. I haven't been on stream for a while. That looked like it's in focus to you guys. It feels like it's I guess it was pretty good. So we'll put this log here. Putting a bit of a bigger blob on the individual ones here. Okay, let's get some more putty. Yeah, rolling with your fingers at a 45 to the putty usually makes it more even. That went a little too small there. Six. It's about 5.5. Hopefully. Let's we'll take a dry one of these. And these ones they just sort of peel apart. It's kind of annoying. I don't like that, but almost done using them, and I'll have to buy one very soon. But I'll try a different brand. Maybe I'll just buy them online. If I can't get consistency locally, then probably do that. Something like that. Go like this. Okay. We hard to turn in screws when you're wearing gloves sometimes. Kind of doing like a rough bar pattern here. Yeah, you can see, we zoom in a little bit anyways, you can see we don't have like a ton of excess that pressed out. And I can just see it, it's like, it's right there. So that's, sometimes you can just eyeball putty after you've been using it for a while. It's more fun to eyeball it, I find. But I used to use obviously a lot more than I do these days. So yeah, you just gotta get used to how much you can use and or how little. I don't know why, but I feel like adding a bit in there, in that little in this crevice here, it's just for me, I don't know, I just want that to be, you don't have to add extra putty necessarily, but I feel the urge, so I will. Everyone can kind of choose their own path with putty. Doesn't that just like look better? I think it does. Now on this side, what we're gonna do is do a nice little trim. So it's gotta get messy on me. All right, now we can do the back plate putty. We're gonna do, I'll put like little strips where the VRAM is, and then we'll add some here and here, I believe is where we have it. Actually, before we do that, let's we'll just get this back plate clean pretty quickly here. Man, these wipes suck. They just keep pulling apart. Get them at Shoppers Drug Mart, which is just like a pharmacy in Canada. I think probably, I don't know if the US has Shoppers Drug Mart, but yeah, gonna have to get them somewhere else, I think. Let me zoom back out here. You guys can see my messy desk. Alright, that's pretty clean. At least this side anyways. I just realized I'm going to be... Oh, no, I still do. I still have some of these. We're probably going to use them all up today. Then we could buy some better ones, which I'm looking forward to. Still kind of clean for Putty over here. Okay, when I put the back plate on, yeah, I can put that one little screw in with that bracket piece. Can't forget that. Just going by memory, I think it's thicker on the back plate. These components are looking like 1.5 mil here. I'm pretty sure it's a 3 millimeter gap from the back plate to the PCB. That's a fairly typical gap on the 30 series. Probably quite a few cards have a 3 millimeter gap on the back plate, but it's not like we actually need full putty coverage either, so backplate, this isn't going to add a ton of cooling, but I am going to add it anyways, just because. It's only one VRAM, and it's this one right here. This is not a 12 gig card, it's a 10 gig card. No point in putting putty where there's no VRAM. Do a log like that. Set of 4. So this set of 4. And then we are going to, oh, actually the back plate even has a machined out section, which is kind of interesting that ASUS did that. This can be a bit smaller of a log. Just gonna go on a whim and aim for around 5 millimeters, something like that. But we're just gonna use this strip on here. Almost done the back plate putty. I'm looking forward to getting back to the core side, that's for sure. It's about 5 millimeters there. You know what I forgot to do on this side was dab the putty to make it stick better. Right. So that is the back plate. This is the back of the card. So this is going to go something like that. Right now, gotta find a little screwdriver. Maybe it is just so screws. Okay, this guy goes on like something like that. So far this seems right, and then this one goes here. I feel like there's one up here too, but I'll have to double check. Oh, did we just have putty fall out? We did. You know what? We have to, well, it's good that happened. I just found the missing screw. Okay, so this time I'm probably going to apply the putty to the back plate itself. It'll make it easier to lay the card down and then get it all lined up. So it's all pretty good except for that made contact. Wait, you know what? I don't think we had to take it apart. This was just like leftover putty, wasn't it? Because there's I'll show you what I mean. This strip here is there. That's the VRAM there. VRAM, VRAM, VRAM. And this strip goes here. Anyways, that's what it looks like when it's squished. Because that happened, we're just going to take the putty, and all you gotta do is squeeze the edges so it stands up a bit. I'll give it a nice flat surface on the top again. To fully reshape it necessarily. Just spruce it up enough so it'll make contact again and squish. And it's not like it was fully compressed either, so okay, let's try this again. It was good we did that though, we found the missing screw. turn the card on with a missing screw somewhere on the PCB. That could be bad. I'm just going to get all these started first, and then apply a little bit of, tiny bit of pressure, not much. I'm not applying much pressure, maybe a pound. This stuff's pretty soft, so it doesn't take much. Alright, so once I've done that, because this is the backplate putty, and backplates can be kind of floppy, what I'm doing is I'm looking down the card this way, and just seeing where there's like, if there's a bit of flex in a couple places. Yeah, the putty's making contact. It's not like full coverage because it is, I'm pretty sure it is 3mm gap, but that's okay. Doesn't really need much on the back plate. Just wanted to apply a bit more pressure there. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Okay. Now, the core side is we're going to get this back in place. Probably going to get gloves on in a second, but I don't want to get any silicone oil on these connectors from the putty, because that would could cause issues for electricity to flow and all that good stuff. So yeah. It's looking like too bad, but I didn't fully clean this one yet. Nevertheless, we're going to get this hooked up. Flip it around as well. Alejandros, welcome to the stream. What putty is that again? This is Upsiren UTP8. Sorry, UTP8. It's my one of my go-to putties, mostly because I can buy 100 grams on AliExpress for anywhere from like $31 to $35, although the price has been coming up recently. So yeah, I find when I'm buying in bulk, I can usually get a discount when you buy 3 of them at a time. Although most people don't need to buy that much. Andrew Philippe, nice music. Yeah, no worries. You have a question. What is the best option to cool VRAM? I can't get the right height for pads because I've tried 0.5, 1 mil pads for the VRAM specifically, but temps are ranging from 98 to 100. Well, yeah. Oh, your VRAM temps are 98 to 100, or your core temps are? I'm assuming your core temps are getting that high because you're getting, I assume, what, core contact issues? Or your VRAM still 99 to 100? I'd go with a putty. I'd go with a putty every day of the week for VRAM and MOSFETs over thermal pad. I don't think thermal pads are very good because they're manufactured to a specific height plus or minus a certain tolerance, and then the manufacturer of the video card is like coming up with some random gap that they decide, and then they're sourcing pads and probably basing the gap off of whatever pads they source and how soft they are. And even with all of that designing that they've done, they can still mess it up and get poor core contact sometimes, or just really hot VRAM. So, oh, your VRAM is still 99, 98 to 100. I guess that's better than the core going that hot. Otherwise your card probably wouldn't be very happy. Yeah, I would use a thermal putty. You know, what video card do you have? So I might have a better idea of which putty I'd recommend if I knew the model. I was thirsty. I hadn't drank water in a while. Tastes pretty good. Oh, you got 50 grams of UTP-8. Yeah, no worries, man. Yeah, I think you're going to be pretty happy with your VRAM temps for sure. And oh, you got a 3080? Totally, man. What brand? Is yours an FE? You've got a Gainward? Okay, I've never worked on Gainward video cards before. Like, I kind of think my gut says that you didn't I don't think the 1 mil pads are even big enough, but I could be wrong because I haven't worked on that card. I'd have to, you know what, let's just take a split second here and let me open up Firefox. Go to Google. All right, let me just see here, second screen. All right, so Gainward 3080. I'm just gonna look up a quick like repaste. Thermal pad, blah blah blah. You know what? Is there? I'll try and mute this right away just so we're not listening to of course I'm not signed in. Which ads. Okay. Just gonna skip ahead to, this is a video from Loki's Tech. He's doing a thermal pad mod. I've never watched this video before. Looks like he's using critical. Or are those the stock ones? Just I gotta pause this at the right point. Okay, on the back plate, those kind of look like 2 mil pads, but it was kind of hard to see. But yeah, I would put putty there. And then on the core side, well, this is going to be a good angle too. Okay, those squishy ones there, I mean, I know that's blurry on his video. Okay, let's see if we can, those are thick pads. Those look like, honestly, those look like 2.5 millimeters. the on the VRAM there. Yeah, I would definitely put putty there, but I think those are pretty thick pads. If those are the stock pads, I want to say, I don't know if they are or not, but these green ones, those look thinner. So I'd probably go, I don't know, I'd assume like 1.1 millimeter or 1.5 on the coils, those black coils that are 22. That really thin, narrow gray one on the MOSFETs. You could go generous with a little bit of excess putty. It's got lots of space to squish out. I would assume that's probably 1 millimeter to 1.5 millimeters, but I would run like a decent log of putty there. For the VRAM itself, I would do 6.5 millimeter diameter log, and that'd be probably pretty good. And I'd probably use PTM7950 on the core. That's just what my gut, just looking at the video. See, he's using some Zezio pads. Or maybe it's 2 mil, but definitely like 1 mil is not big enough. Your VRAM's not currently making contact. Anyways, let's get back to this card. Yeah, they're bulky for sure. Gain word. Harry Dykstra, welcome to the stream, good sir. GDDR6X is naturally very hot VRAM. Had this same with the 3090 Yuzu TP8 putty. Yeah, even with like a top end putty on the back end, on the back plate of a 3090, just because we don't have that active cooling, temps can be still up there more than we'd like. Almost the best bet on a 3090 would be to go with some shims on just the back plate. You don't really need them on the core side with a putty. I don't think. I still need to test that on my 3090, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be fine if I just put shims on the back plate and not on the core side. Okay, I just got a little blob of putty out there. So we're still going to add, you know what we'll probably just do, I'm not going to add shims to this one, I don't think. I'm just going to put putty by itself. Because I'm pretty sure, well, I'm not going to be mining on this card at all. But I'll probably just turn it into a gaming card. I think we'll see what the temps are like without the shim to bridge the gap between here and the main cooler. And I could always go back and change it later if I need to. Because I don't really want to use up any of those, well, I don't want to put copper in it. I don't want to use up my aluminum nitride on this card. I need to buy more of these aluminum nitride shims. But until that happens, I'm kind of using them sparingly. Alright, I think I'm going to use the microscope view. I just got to move a few things around here to make that possible. Probably going to have to rotate the card. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put these two little guys in there. Oops. That's okay. I'm not too worried about it. Alright, so let's see if we can get the microscope lined up here. It's almost, I need to be able to raise that up further. probably turn the brightness down. You guys think that's viewable, like visible enough to use? Or should I give up on the microscope for today? Part of me wants to make this work. So we're gonna try, even though we can't see all of the core. I think it'll still be useful. We'll see the top two corners. We're gonna lay down some PTM7950. The piece that I have is kind of dirty around the plastic covering. Just gonna wipe that clean a little bit. So the piece I have is actually almost the perfect size, but it's too big. It's definitely too big to my liking, so I'm going to cut it down to size a bit once I locate the scissors I just tossed around. Where do I get the aluminum nitride shims? I get them on AliExpress. You can find them just by typing in aluminum nitride. You don't need to use the word shims at all. And they should pop up. So it's good. It's still too big. I mean, it's the right size, but I like to go smaller to make it easier for second peel. I'm still going to get full coverage once this thing melts. So, oops. Let's get the tweezers. Not flopping around on me here. There we go. Okay, so this is... You see how the border is there's a border of silicone around there? That's what I do. I don't use full-size sheets anymore. I'm going to peel. There's only one side that has the exaggerated overlap of the plastic, so this time I'm actually not going to use the tape. Just off screen, I peeled the first one with the tweezers. And now this one has that like extra wide piece of plastic. Doesn't have to be perfectly centered. This is legit PTM7950. I got this stuff from CapLink. They normally don't sell sheets to individuals. Like typically they do business to business stuff, but you know, if anyone out there is in a country where this is like not easily accessible on the retail market, then you could probably start if you're a computer shop, you could like start a little business and start selling this stuff. So I like to rub this on to make it stick really well, but doing so, it's probably going to warm it up a little bit, right? Just from the heat from my finger. So then what I'll do is I'll just leave it like that until I'm done the putty job. And the last thing that I do before I put the card back together is peel that film, because now I'm keeping it clean. You know, we're not going to get any dust in there. Let's not toss those bits. They might be useful for something. Okay, so all we have to do is add. That's why I wanted to add putty there. Let me zoom in and talk about that just for a split second. Just gotta get to the thing here. All right, so this heatsink doesn't actually connect with these, or does it? Yeah, I guess I can put a log there to connect to the heatsink, which we're gonna do. Yeah, so this, if I'm lining this up correctly, this lines up with this strip here. So we'll put some putty there, We're going to put some putty there, which will go along this here. Actually, we'll put it to the cooler. And same thing here. It'll be easier to put in place rather than have upside down putty. Yeah, these wipes are just... I can't tell if this is... I think this is 2. Yeah, it's 2. Not impressed with the wipes. But I burned through almost an entire 3-pack making that the What Is Putty video. Where I kept like testing each putty and then squishing it. And then had to like clean the workspace and do it again. Once you do that, close to 40 times, it gets pretty old, but just use this to dry for a nice streak-free. Okay, let's get some gloves on so we can roll some putty. Robert Starkey, welcome to the stream. You should do some tests with aluminum oxide shims to see how well they perform versus aluminum nitride ones, since the price difference between the two is are aluminum oxide shims cheaper or more expensive? I actually haven't. I could definitely test those along with other shim combos and stuff. I just haven't. I haven't seen aluminum oxide stuff, but then I haven't really searched for it. Alright, let's roll some putty. This card actually uses quite a bit of putty, now that I come to think about it, especially if you do the back plate. Could I do this in 50 grams? I probably could. But, I don't know, this one's almost more of a... Well, no, this container wasn't full when I started because I had already pulled from it, so it's not like I can even... through the container. Oxide are stupid cheap. You can get like 100 1mm pads for under $20 US. Really? Amazon has a ton of listings for aluminum ceramic under the term. Cool. I'll that'll be fun to try out. I'll definitely do that. That seems like a pretty good price. That's definitely cheaper than getting... I think I got a 24 pack for like, I don't know, was it like 25, 30? They were like $1 a piece, I want to say, approximately, the ones I bought. So yeah, I'll definitely test those out. That would be pretty cost effective going that route. You know what? There was a little, yeah, we're going to use a little thermal pad right here. Actually, kind of think this makes direct contact, so it's probably don't need to use too much. Tweezers sure come in handy, eh? It's the standard pad you find when a transistor needs to be electrically isolated yet thermally conductive. Nice. That sounds like it's right up our alley. All alumina ceramic. I'll definitely look into that. It's always good to have more options for shims, because like not everyone has the stuff to cut their own on a and take the risk of like using power tools, and then hacksaws take quite a bit of effort, and then you got to deburr it if you're cutting your own, and it's nice to be able to buy something. Well, and then typically copper is going to be conductive as well, so not exactly ideal. Go with something like that. This is roughly 4.8 to 5 millimeter log, somewhere around there. And we're going to use 6 millimeter logs on both of these areas, just because it'll squish out fine. There's lots of space around there. So that's a 6 mil log. I'm not gonna bother putting, well, actually, you know what, maybe we will. See if I can get this to stick in place. Just gonna dab it pretty good. All right, that is the putty all applied. So now I'm just going to make sure this is nice and clean. Right. That's ready for the peel. So I'm going to peel at a steep angle. And yeah, it worked out good. Screws I've got, yeah, I think I've got everything off that I needed.
I like to be educated, but I'm so frustrated. Hello to my loneliness. I guess that ignorance is bliss. Take me back to before
Something like that.
rewind, take it out.
We'll do the X bracket first. Actually, we're going to get the corner screws started before we do the X bracket.
How much I miss, I know that we're all screwed. When we play our roles and ignore the problems. I like to be way more patient. Stay up, I feel so outdated.
You know, I actually could have used more putty
The other way,
right there, but
sun is out.
I'm going to try stuffing some in afterwards if I can. See if that'll work. I think it will.
I don't wanna, but I know I gotta do it. The truth is hard to swallow. I think I'll chew it. I wish I knew.
Rick, how's it going, man? Good to see you. Looks like the Honda is selling Honeywell's PTM as well now in their AliExpress store, or are they now offering shipping to my country? I've had someone get it from there, and so there's some confusion. I thought that that was like an official store run by the Honda. Oh, it sounds like it's it might be a store that someone else like operates that Honda has an agreement with to like sell them directly, and then they worry about the distribution. So I'm not sure if Honda, the company, actually runs that. And what am I saying here? Honda also sells their own PCM that they make. So I kind of think it is just operated by someone else, but I don't know. If I was buying PTM7950, I'd probably just, you know, the price has got to be right, but my gut says get it from a different source than, I don't know. Yeah. Like, I like getting it from the Passionate Girl store because it's been pretty cheap there. But if you wanted to be like 100% sure that you're getting the real deal, that it's actually PTM7950, you know, the classic, like the mod DIYs, probably the LTT store. But more recently, Thermal Grizzly has confirmed that their face sheet PTM that they sell is legit Honeywell repackaged or like rebranded under the Thermal Grizzly brand. So that's a good option, and it's like you should be able to buy that locally a lot of the time in quite a few countries. So you could get PTM on AliExpress, and I do and have, and I've had good luck with it, whether it's real or whether it's rebranded like a different product. It's been like working great. I don't think most people would even be able to tell the difference between PCM8500 and PTM7950. Yeah, that's my take on it so far. I'll probably have a stronger opinion once I've tested them all on Test Bench 3, which I hope to be, you know, show us more accurate results than what I felt Test Bench 2 was capable of on the core side. So yeah, I don't know. I've been buying the stuff on AliExpress though for quite a while, and it's great. Whether it's real or not, I don't know. It performs almost as if it's real. But I've also got stuff from Caplink, so now I've got like an endless supply of, like, I'm never gonna need more than what I've got. I'll still have to buy stuff for testing, but and technically my PTM is expired. Both the sheets now. One was expired in August, and the other one expired in October. I've got the a 0.25 sheet and a 0.2 millimeter sheet, but they still work great. They don't really expire. They just that's like a, I think that's a manufacturer thing for saying, hey, like, we don't guarantee it'll be good after this date, so you have to buy new stuff. But you could totally just buy, you can still use it. There's nothing wrong with it. It might get more crumbly for like application, but this stuff is supposed to like last years and years and years, so it might just maybe be just a little harder to apply. But the stuff that we applied today is a 0.25 sheet, and that one, I believe, if my memory is correct, that was the one that expired in, I think, in August. So I'll have to go back and look. I've got pictures posted on the Discord, of course, of that. But okay, that's this card together. Let's take a quick peek. All right, so there's a bit of excess there. You guys can see that. Hey, you know what? Maybe this is an opportunity for the switch to oh yeah, look at that. Isn't that cool? So that's the power connector. Let's move it a little bit over here so you can see we definitely got putty in the right spot. I'm pretty happy with the log diameter I used. You can see how it's squished around the back of the coils just ever so slightly, and it's making decent contact like out to the edge of the heat sink right here. Right, if I turn that this way, I could have even gone a little bit bigger or placed it more centered. But what was I going to do here? I was going to trim. We're going to try. This is kind of an awkward angle for me, but oh yeah, you gotta love that squish. Look at that. Isn't that cool? It's nice seeing this stuff up close like this. I'm just going to pack the little bit there. Just pack it in. Tap, 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 tap-a-roo. I'm going to get a Q-tip. It's just a dry Q-tip. I don't recommend, I've seen people say to like dip a Q-tip in like rubbing alcohol and then use that to shape the putty. I wouldn't do that. I feel like you're gonna, like, alcohol and silicone oil aren't friends. That's what I think. I think they're mortal enemies, and Okay, we're just gonna try and get a Q-tip in there and pack that corner. Do we get it? Not quite. There we go. Isn't that cool, eh? Yeah, the Thermal Grizzly stuff. Yeah, Der Bauer was on Reddit. It was his actual Reddit account, and someone was asking, and he said yes, it is. And he seems like an honest guy, so I would totally, myself, I would trust that. All right, so there we can see on either side of the VRAM, we got some good putty squish around there, around the back plate, and on the core side, and over here. That's what putty looks like. We got a row of MOSFETs there. You can tell the putty squished around in his, or sorry, that's the back plate side. Those aren't MOSFETs, I think. Those are part of the power delivery. I just don't remember which component exactly, but okay, that's the MOSFET row there that we're looking at the bottom, because you can see that other piece is like a coil. Let's see if that's a coil there. That's going to be a MOSFET in this row here. Yeah, this is a new overhead microscope I got with I can zoom in further, but I have to get an arm. I just want to look at the it's kind of an awkward angle, but actually, let's zoom right in to these, eh? Let's see if we can get really close. Maybe I can't get that close. Yeah, the power connector posts look pretty good. But it's pretty awkward to hold it like this. So I'm going to set it down, and we're going to go back to the normal view. Okay, these fans spin this way. This one spins this way, and this one spins this way. What else we got to do? We've got to attach the I/O bracket with these 7 chunky screws. So let's do that, and then I'll be able to do whatever last little bit of cleanup there is. Now, where did that I/O bracket go? It's kind of an important piece to not misplace. I mean, I'm sure I'll find it. I just don't know if I'm going to find it in the next... It's not on screen, is it? No. There we go. It was hiding under the box of Q-tips. Great. It's gonna just go like something like that, which I'll be able to finish cleaning that up in a bit. Okay, there are longer screws and shorter screws, so I feel like these are the shortest ones, which is these two, because they have the shortest threads to go into. The other ones have an extension that are past the flat, if that makes sense. Okay, I'll just have to look at the screen for this, because I can't... that seem right? Something like that. that's awkward threading like that, but it's gonna look better on the screen, so that's what we'll do. That's the most awkward way of screwing it in. Let's just go back to this way. This is better for me. Kind of put that in approximate focus. This is probably one of the stiffer I/O brackets I've seen. So good job ASUS on that. That being said, these cards are still so heavy, so if you're doing horizontal mount, I'd definitely recommend, I mean, I'm sure you guys know this already, but you should definitely have a support bracket if you are mounting horizontal. It's kind of why I prefer vertical mounts on gaming PCs, but some cases you don't have the room for a vertical mount if you get like an aftermarket one that steals like a full inch or 2.5 centimeters of the max GPU base. Nowadays, video cards are longer than they were a decade ago by a long shot, so. Great, that is, that's the card back together. We did it. As always, though, after doing a putty job, I always like to clean the PCI Express connector. You know, should we throw this thing on the test bench and do a quick burn in and see what the temps are? We probably should. Like, we'll do a Furmark to get the PTM melting. Might as well. We started off the stream that way. It'd be kind of cool to finish the stream that way too. Just want to make sure there's... Oh, see, I just touched the connector again. I'm not supposed to do that. You don't want to get your finger oils on there either. Okay, I'm going to swap the... I'll turn the... let me get the thermal camera running here. Just gotta get the program going. I think it was called IR Cam. I'll get that up on screen. And through its camera, you guys will be able to watch me, settings, connect. Oh no. Brutal. Sucks. Okay, I'm not gonna be able to get the thermal camera up and running. That's okay. I'll still hook up the card. We'll still be able to view it through the capture card. Sorry, I was gonna try and have the thermal camera running as well. Next time. HDMI. while that's booting up, I'll clean this up a little bit. See if that's ready. There we go. Okay, that's the test bench 2.1. And yeah, I guess I'll get this running while I'm cleaning up my desk. We can't have the RAM as a pink color, so we're gonna get the RGB fixed here first. I mean, I know you guys don't see the RGB, but like I do, so it's, yeah, it's got to be green, right? Let's get HW info running. MSI Afterburner. View temperature. All right, we're just gonna run it. We're not gonna play with the fan unless we have to. And we'll get some Furmark going here. Yeah, I should probably update it at some point. Okay, I'll do this, and then... Oh, shoot. Wrong keyboard. Right. Is that hard to see for you guys? I mean, I'm looking at a pretty small screen. 58. That's not even that bad right off the hop. Like, it's gonna go up a bit here, but it's definitely making contact. So yeah, we'll let that burn. I'm gonna clean up my desk while that's doing its thing. Alejandros, thanks for the reply. Our UTP-8 on the Shopee site costs around $12 for 50 grams. Pretty sweet deal if I say so myself. Yeah, that's that is a good price on Shopee. Are you running? You've got a store on Shopee then that you're operating? That's pretty cool, if I'm understanding that correctly. I'm just gonna add in. Oh, I can't really do that, can I? Oh, I could add this up here. I'm just gonna make this smaller, just so you guys can see me down in the corner. Pushing stuff. I'm still here. Might not show my face, but you guys can still see me. Always scrub your shims between each application. Good times. You guys having a good, what is it? Is it a Wednesday today? Or is it Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday. Yeah, my phone says Tuesday. So 61 and hotspot is 74. So what we should see, we were at a 13-degree delta before. We're at a 13-degree delta, 12 or 13 degree. We have the same delta. We haven't even burnt in the PTM yet. Which I need to get hotter than this. I'm not, like 61's not going to do it. So what we're going to do is we are going to go into the settings. See, it's at 70, 71. Okay, actually, that's crazy. This isn't even burnt in. We're comparing it to MX4. Before, wasn't the fan at like 75%? I'll have to look back at the stream later. And we're already a couple degrees cooler on the core at a slower fan speed with PTM that's not even burnt in yet. So we're going to go over to the fan here and we're going to drop it down to let's see what 50% fan does. I want to get the temperature up to 75, 80 if I can. I really want to melt that PTM, so we're going to try that. See how it goes. I'm not worried about the VRAM. I expect the VRAM will be hotter than it was when we had the copper shims, right? The copper shims were doing awesome. That being said, I think the putty temps are probably going to be just fine. But yeah, we're slowing down the fan to 50% there. Hotspot's 82. We got 70 degrees, still climbing. So I'll probably put it to, well, I'll leave it there for now. If the GPU temperature gets to 80, then I'll try and fiddle with it to keep it around that 75 or 80. And that's because while PTM is claimed to melt at 45 degrees Celsius, that's just where it starts to really have a lower viscosity. And the higher temperature you go, the more liquidy it becomes. So yeah, I like to burn it in. Some people just like use it normally. Some people do heat cycles. I pretty much just do a solid burn in, one and done sort of thing, and then I use it normally afterwards. Because it's, well, as far as I understand it, it's not heat cycling like hot cold that makes it thin. It's the temperature and the pressure. So that's what I do. Okay, so we're at basically 80 there, and it's still climbing a little bit. So I'm going to speed the fan up to, it's at 50%. I'm going to go 52 or something like that, 50, maybe 55. Let's see where that lands us. Yeah, so the core is going down, so that's good, because we increased the fan speed a little bit. I'm thinking that'll be where we do the melting. You know, as the PTM gets thinner, the temperature is going to come down, but at least starting off at 80, I could walk away, and I know it's not going to get, well, I don't think it's going to get hotter than that. You might get a bit more heat soaking, but that PTM melting and squishing out right now as we speak with that mounting force, that should make the temperature go down, not up. How'd you guys like the new microscope? I think it's going to be useful. I need to get a better mount so that I can make it point to like the center of my desk and not kind of like way over here. And I need to make it so it's like an adjustable height sort of thing, like telescopic. But the ones I've seen, well, nothing's cheap. Nothing that I want, unfortunately, as far as improving the like the video and streaming setup is cheap, so it'll just take me a bit of time to acquire the things. But yeah, it's been a little bit busier at work, so that's been good for having a bit of spare money I can spend on this hobby. But yeah, if you guys ever wanted to support the channel, you obviously can. No, there's no obligation. I'm never going to put stuff behind a paywall, but if you want to, you can. I'm over on, I think I've got a link in the description for the coffee website. But I'm going to keep making stuff, making content and testing things. And yeah, but I'm looking forward to doing like live stream testing too, which will be fun. Especially for when we're doing like phase change stuff. Because like I can record the burn-in with HW info, but it'd be kind of cool if I was doing that live and people could just check it out whenever they want to, and I'll have like the ambient temperature fairly like large, easier to see. Alright, so right now our core is at 79, our hotspot's at 91 and change. So that's like a 12-degree delta still. So the 337 watts. GPU clock's 1845. Are power limited. So even at 55% fan speed, well, I mean, obviously we're not thermal throttled right now. We're limited by the power. So if I gave it some more juice, you know, on MSI Afterburner, then we could make it a little hotter. Nice image. What brand is it? Which image? Oh, is this like you mean like the fuzzy? Seen some nice mounts on AliExpress. Oh, image on the microscope. It is a Yiz Hond, which I don't know. Let me find a link here. Seems like we got time to chat and find stuff. I'll post the link in the videos. No, I'll post it in chat here in a second. AliExpress. Oh, that seems like a good price. Can I just buy that? No, that's going to be different prices too, isn't it? Okay. I'll post this link anyways, though. This is not the same store that I bought it from, but it is a store that lists the like different camera options, different lens options and stuff. So oh, it's too many characters. Okay, let me tiny roll that. Just gonna test the Earl before I just do it. Yeah, it looks like it's working. Okay. So if you follow the link I just posted in the chat here, I bought that like aqua blue Yizhon microscope. I think I got it from a different store. I'm using the 180 times or magnification lens on it. I've got that little USB light on the with the dial and switch. What I don't have is that table mount and that telescopic mount. That's kind of cool. But you get it all together on this site and it looks like it's $236 Canadian, 37% off, so that's pretty good. Right now I'm using it with the HDMI, but it's also got a USB hookup. But again, I was having lag issues by having everything on the USB bus, especially 4K video. It comes with a remote. I haven't figured out a remote yet. I gotta hook it up to my TV to see if it's like I can play around with the settings. But well, let's go back up to, sorry. Yeah, melty things are happening. That's good. Obviously, with 55% fan speed, the memory junction's a little warm, but that's okay. I'm not too worried about it. We're down to about a 12 delta pretty consistently. We're not seeing that 13 anymore, so I think it's melting. I'm just going to let it run for a couple hours, to be honest. And I'm not planning on streaming for that length of time, but what I can do is maybe I'll just reset this now. I'll leave the fan at this speed. It had been running for 15 minutes there. And then in a couple hours, like I'm going to go bake some bread and I'll come back down and take a look at, it's 11:30 now, so 1:30, let's say. And then I'll take a snapshot of the screen here and we'll see how the burn-in has gone. But yeah, I mean, I think it's making good color contact. We're only at 55% fan speed for these temperatures and we're not thermally throttled, so it's a pretty big win there. Those are two decent design mounts I've seen that aren't an arm and a leg, like a laboratory style. Yeah, I'm gonna get that like swing arm that pivots and then a telescopic mount, because there's times where I'd like to bring the microscope like right down. Like right now, I've got about 60 centimeters from the where the microscope is down to the desk, because I'm looking at a monitor and it's just above that. But every once in a while, I'm not really going to care about like looking at the monitor. I'm going to want to bring the microscope down to, let's say, 30 centimeters and really zoom in and get up nice and close. And I might have to switch out the lenses. So I've got these screw-in lenses which will change the view. Yeah, the focal point lens, I think is what they're called. But yeah, I've got the 0.3, which is on there right now, and then I think Northwest Repair, or it might have even been Northridge Fix. I think they were using a 0.5 or a 0.75. So the 0.3 allows me to get a slightly wider view, I'm pretty sure. Well, yeah. That's how I'm currently set up now anyways, so 80 degrees, hotspot 92. Yeah, I'm gonna let that burn in, but thanks for checking out the stream today, guys. It was fun. We did a putty job, and we saw what old 3-year-old thermal putty looks like, which I think it was pretty impressive. And yeah, it looked chunky at times, but as you saw in the stream, or if you're just joining recently, you can scroll back, and I'm taking what's like completely crumbly putty and kneading it into a soft ball again. So pretty cool stuff. Yeah, and This ASUS TUF card is good to go for another few years. If anything, the fans will be the first thing to go on that card. Yeah, but they're still doing pretty good. I might be able to lubricate them if I'm really careful. I might drill through the back again like I do with other fans, and lubricate them with some sewing machine oil, which works out pretty good most of the time. But yeah, I think that's it for today. Yeah, I'll try and probably do another stream in the next couple days here. There's like a couple things I could do. Just trying to figure out what I want to do for the stream. But thanks for joining in and tuning in tonight. It was a bit of a longer one, but I had some fun. So you guys have a good night, and I will catch you on the next one. Snarks Domain out.